Parrot, Parrot TV, Parrot TV, Parrot TV, Parrot TV, Parrot TV. Listen to the people, listen to humanity, listen to the parrot, Parrot TV, 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 Parrot TV.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We want to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. You know, if you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this Series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative mind. So we have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now. Hello, I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host. Welcome to World Inkers Network. This is episode number 255, and today we have Dennis DeRose. Dennis DeRose has been editing mostly fiction for over 10 years. He caught the writing bug about 8 years ago when he began writing a diary. A local ASPCA hosted a writing contest where he was in the 6th grade, and he won an honorable mention for a short story he wrote about his dog, Red. To date, he has written 5 short stories, some are ongoing, 3 poems, and his first novel, Bristlecone Magic, Gentleman Cowboy, a song that has been rattling around in his head for years, isn't just a hit yet. It was penned by Dennis and put to music by a good friend, Michael Barnett, a fantastic musician. In 1973, while going to college, he met a Dutch girl, Carla, and they are still married. Welcome to the show, Dennis. How are you today?
Thank you very much, Dustin. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. I'm glad to have you on the show. And so tell us a little bit about some of your editing experience. And as an editor, how did you transition from editing to writing yourself?
Well, I retired from the New York Department of Corrections 9 years ago. But before that, I knew I was going to retire. So that's why I got into editing, actually. Who runs a review company, a very large one, actually. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But it's called Reader's Favorite. It's nationwide now. The 9 years back 2010, they had 100 reviewers. Now they have over 1,000.
Wow.
That's how I got editing. Book I read, I found so many mistakes in it. I started to write them down. I always been that way all my life. And I started to write down the page number, the mistake. I contacted and I the corrections to the writer, and she did that. I ended up editing his. Never edited anything before, and he actually won a gold medal. Um, they run a blind contest, which means that they don't know right. They're so random, when they judge these things. Anyway, he won a gold medal, and that's got the field of editing.
So when you started writing yourself, when you started doing your own writing and short stories, when did that start, and how was the transition
Well,
for you?
well, I mean, the story I wrote when I was 12. I just did it, and then I never picked up anything. No, never wrote anything like that. Met one little person online. Her name is Michelle Renee Goodhue, and
Hmm.
Michelle Goodhue is a graphic design and has a website and everything, of course. And she was putting prompts online. You see a picture, and if you like it, write a story about it. So she put a prompt online, and it just grabbed me. I started writing, and that's how I wrote my first story.
Interesting.
One story turned into two stories. Put up another prompt. I wrote a story about that. Um, I've written a few stories just based on my own life experience. We went to San Francisco about 3 years ago, and I just kind of fell in love with the Golden Gate Bridge. We walked across 4 times, and I decided to write a story about the Golden Gate Bridge.
Hmm.
And one thing led to another, and I've enjoyed writing. I ended up writing another short story, and I've written some poetry. When my dad passed away in 2012, I was I myself as my father, and I didn't know what to do for him. So I thought I'm going to write a poem about my dad. So 10 days after he passed away, I wrote a poem about my father, and that's kind of how I got into that. And then I found out one of my friends' college passed. I wrote a poem about him, and a lady from church. She was seemed like she was depressed. I wrote a poem about her, just to make her feel good, and that got with that. And after that, Bristlecone Magic came about. A year ago, I was on. Have you heard of a website called LinkedIn?
Yes,
Okay,
the
so LinkedIn, as
professionals.
you know, is
Hmm.
professionals.
Hmm.
It's like Facebook for professionals. And I saw a picture there that really interested me, which sent you a copy of it. I don't know if I have it there or not. Um, and anyway, I ignored it for a day, and I went to, and I just thought, well, let's be a short story in there. But the short story morphed into 68,000 words over,
Wow,
over the space of 2 months in summer of 2021.
excellent. Have you been involved in like the literary community at large, other than editing? Like, if you entered contests or tried to publish your work in other magazines or anything like that?
I, I I was featured in the magazine um, for distinguished, call them distinguished people. I don't know how distinguished I am, but they featured me. That was very nice. But I paid for that, so that was kind of I don't know what you would call it when you pay for something like that, because I had never done that before. But they did a really good job. Whether or not it made a difference, I have no idea. Um, but and I've entered a few contests online, with short stories, but I didn't do it. Doesn't they're not that means there's a lot of competition.
Hmm. Huh.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of contests out there, and it's sometimes hard to navigate which ones are more geared to the kind of work you're doing. So, are you
yeah, there is.
selective when you look for publishers, or?
you're right. You're right. Those magazines, they come up with a what do you call it? A theme, you know. They
Mhm.
want a story just for that theme. So if your story doesn't fit that theme, you know, they kind of ignore your story, and I understand that. You know,
Mhm.
I get that, but it's okay. I'm not worried about that. Next book will probably be a compilation of short stories, probably an anthology.
Okay.
I think
Interesting.
it's I think a lot of them to write short stories. I enjoy that a lot. Uh, when I'm editing or
When you
reading a short story, you
right.
know.
So when you say short stories, what's the word count for you on average?
Um, well, I always happens for me is I'll start writing a short story and I'll stop, and then I'll say to myself, "Well, the action it continues." But end up on part two, and part two turns into part three. You know, it's just how
Mhm.
it flows. You know, if the story moves, and I want to add to it, I add to it. If it doesn't move me, I'll just end it there. It could be a
Mhm.
thousand words. It could be 2,000 words. But the stories I'm working on right now called "Oh Hello," which doesn't seem like much of a title. "Oh Hello" seems like a lame title actually.
Mhm.
But it's actually about a piece of furniture in a doctor's office, and I personify the furniture because the piece of furniture, which is the coat, is magic. Um, well, kind of like magic. You kind of figured that out. Physical and magic, so magical. I kind of enjoy that sort of stuff. Um,
Mhm.
that was going to be a short story, and that right now is up to 22,000 words, I think. I'm
Okay.
done with the story. I know where I want to go. Maybe it'll come to a novel that I'm not really sure.
Hmm. So do you just let the stories take a life of their own? I mean, the characters, do
Yeah,
they kind of play in your
I think.
head a little bit?
I
Mhm.
mean, I think a story tells itself. I think a
Mhm.
tale tells itself. This is my own opinion. Everybody else has a different opinion, of course. But I get really involved in my stories. Brooklyn
Mhm.
Magic. I've read through Brooklyn Magic now 7 times. I'm going through it an eighth time, and actually, I'm going through to for the tiny mistake, like maybe I left out a period, or maybe I there's two spaces where there's only supposed to be one. You know, when you the
Mhm.
sentence after the sentence supposed to have one space, and maybe there's two. And those are easy mistakes to make. Everybody
Mhm.
makes them. Really, every reader makes them. Do they want to bother fixing it, or are they satisfied with it as it is? Myself
Mhm.
being the way I am, I'm satisfied. My stakes are pretty high for myself, you know. So I'll end up probably printing this a second time, putting a second printing, and hopefully with every little tiny text. But that's just me.
Right. Yes, a lot of authors I talk to have said that when they write their stories that they just sort of happen. So why write if the story's in your head and it's happening already? What's the purpose of writing it down? What do you think? To tell it to
Well,
someone else or
I think it's cathartic too. You know, I think with everything that's going on in the world, as you know, of course,
hmm
with the pandemic and the political arena and people are up in arms and all. I think we need stories. I think we need to tell stories because maybe it'll give you a chance to relax through the story. Maybe it'll move you enough to pretend you're somewhere else, and
right.
maybe we need that with what's going on these days.
hmm
Um, not
I think
enough good in
so.
the world. There's not enough good in the world, or if there is, we don't know about it because newspapers don't report stuff anymore. Now they just want to report bad things. Again, that's just my
Right.
opinion. But when I was growing up, there were newspapers that reported good things. 60 years
hmm
old, so and I think that they're important. Not that um, other things aren't important. It's that the world has forgotten about the good. They only concentrate on the
hmm
bad things.
Right.
But again, it's just my opinion. You know.
I definitely see that myself as a sometimes viewer of the news and hearing the people talk. It's a lot of negativity. I'm not sure why that is, but I think I really agree with you that sometimes it's good to just sit down and read a book. I mean, so what do you read in your free time?
Um, I love to read. Um, Basically, I read one book after the other.
Okay,
Um,
that's good.
and I actually I review every book I read for a writer because I believe I know that reviews sell books, and that's what I did for Read Favorite. I was reviewing books for them as well,
Hmm.
and the re how I got into I didn't tell you these specifics, but specifically a lady from Reader's Favorites who I know, of course, she asked me to edit a short story about a horse, a little
Hmm.
kid's story about a horse, and I did that. Her love, and I was to do it for free. She wouldn't let me. She made me take money. She just wouldn't let me do it for free. And I told her I'd never edited anything. She ended up sending me back $15.
Hmm.
Uh, but that's really how I got into the editing thing. Um,
Hmm.
but like I said, reading is important. And I think the more you read, the better you write. That's just what I think. I
I
mean,
think so too.
uh, makes
Yeah,
sense, right?
exercise that mindset.
It makes sense, right? If you read a lot, you come up, you see words every day and all that. And, I mean, you're going to become a better writer. The more you read, the better you'll write.
Right.
Yeah,
Running a slideshow for you. This is your book, Bristlecone Magic. There,
right. Mhm.
that's the cover. It's
You did
excellent.
a job.
Some
That's
photographs.
that's my grandson Mikey when he was 5 years old. First,
Okay.
I just played for in there. My mom and dad from
Mm-hmm.
years and years and years ago before they had any kids. I
Look
read
happy
a lot of
together.
their. That's Julius Thompson. I've edited all of his books,
Okay.
and I just finished editing. That's a picture of Alex. He was an exchange student here from Norway. And I edited a nice kid. We became close friends. That's Betty Mecci. She wrote a book, and she's off. And she wrote about India when he was 6 years old, and he stayed there for 8 years.
Mm.
So I book as well. That book there,
Mm-hmm.
and that must have been some experience for her and her husband. So far from son.
Wow. People
That's
with a lot of fascinating stories.
yeah, and it for people. And of course, you know what an indie writer is.
Uh-huh.
That's one of Julius's books. Uh, Second book in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's the first book in his series.
Brownstone in Brooklyn.
Yes, the Pilgrim series is his series of three books, and that's Ghost of Atlanta. That's the third and final book, and it's on a gold award from Reed's favorite, by the way. And that's his fifth book. So you don't, uh,
Phantoms of Rockwood.
yeah, Phantoms of
Interesting.
Rockwood. And that's a book that he and I wrote together. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of put that he kind of put that together just to help writers or just get maybe
Kind of a
they need a little
motivational.
boost, and
Yeah,
that's
I suppose we
something
need
that
a
we
good
did.
kick.
And that's the last book we just finished that one,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, that'll come out this month or that book will this not shelves, virtual shelves in February. and that's a piece of science.
So next month.
Doing that. That's Jerry Lowenstein. Jerry Lowenstein is probably 94 now or 95.
Wow.
A fantastic. And then in San Francisco, great. I edited his second book for him. It's called And Now a World. That was a lot of fun. Jerry's an amazing guy. He actually witnessed an atomic bomb explosion off Pickering,
Okay.
1945.
Wow.
I had so much fun meeting him and his wife. And his wife also worked in Africa. There were 2 books.
Wow.
And yeah.
Nice covers.
And that's and she is she wrote a book a couple years ago. I edited it for her. And that's a fantasy basically about what she thinks heaven is like.
Oh wow, interesting.
And yeah, and that's another friend of mine. Her name is her last. Parrot. She's 4 books. I've edited 3 of the 4. She's also from Chicago. And the person to be. It was a pleasure to work with her, and it still is a pleasure to work with her. And I'm sure a lot of her. Yeah, and those are the books that she's written. I've edited most of them, of course. I've actually edited 2 of those books there.
Okay. Nice covers.
And that's the last book I edited of hers. And that's a story that has an alcohol addiction and what she does to overcome her issues.
Wow.
To edit. I love editing. It's just it really does something for me.
Excellent. Yeah, I do. I'm an editor myself. I mostly of poetry. I don't really edit, but I select more than edit. That's what I do for my journal. I don't do a lot unless there's like a major spelling issue or something. With poetry, you have poetic license, so it's kind of it's hard to technically edit a person's poetry.
Did I send you my poetry?
I don't think so. You may have it. It may be in one of the few emails I have from you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I sent it to you. For sure, I sent the link for the poetry.
Right.
Check it out. I mean, you don't have to check it out. You can check it out if you want to. You can ignore it if you want to.
Sure.
Whatever you like.
Well, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back. Enjoy this ad.
Okay, sure.
Do you know?
I'll be right here.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We want to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. If you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on the Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can, and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative mind. So we have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now,
strolling. As I go outdoors, nature beckons to take a stroll in the yard, the garden, then through the mind. Stepping into the world of nature fills the voids of empty spaces left by loneliness, turmoil, stress, grief, and sadness as the tears slowly roll down. There are times when taking a walk into and through nature paths opens the mind. The outdoors, filled with the wonderland of beauty, immediately gives joy and happiness and takes the mind into a relaxing zone. A relaxed mind fills with many ideas that leads to notes, tones, rhythms, and words, quietly bringing peace and serenity deep within the darkness. We become aware that one day all that has been imagined will finally become reality.
welcome back to the program, World Anchors Network. We're here with Dennis DeRose. This is episode 255, and I guess Dennis will have a little time here to read some segments of your work so we can get an idea of what your presentation of your literature.
What would you like to hear?
Just pick something, anything. If you want to read a few paragraphs of a short story or a poem, preferably a poem, because maybe reading a short story, you'd get involved with it, and then it would be like cutting it off.
I might keep handy. My Bristlecone Magic is handy.
Okay.
The poem I could have, but I could just read you the first page.
Sounds good.
So hang on one second.
World Anchors Network. Remember, you can leave comments on the show, guys out there watching today. If you want to speak up your mind and subscribe to the channel while you're watching our YouTube, subscribe, like, share, and comment on our material here. And we'd love to hear from you. And so we're with Dennis DeRose today. He's an editor and a short story and a writer of novels. Also wrote a song, lyrics to a song.
So, okay. So, I've got the first chapter up there. Mm-hmm. I took my glasses off because I can actually read better with my glasses off than on.
Exact same thing as with me, too. It's very interesting.
That's how it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first chapter of Bristlecone Magic is at the base of an old pine, a really old pine. It was the largest for 1,000 miles never seen it before. With no one around to see or criticize him, the TV sobs of remorse as he remembered the raw events of the night before. That's the first paragraph. Does that grab?
Did you want to read a little extra more, a little more, or just?
I am, yes. Yes. He had remembered uh, he these old forests his whole life. Well, almost his whole life. Had currently his birthday in John. Wondrously deep in thought, not really knowing where he was headed. Usually he had mind. Well, his favorite he and his brother John had built when they were both 7, but not two. And for 2 paragraphs, first page. And did that happen anyway at all?
It's interesting. I think you have a very it's a good narrative. It works very well. I had a little hard time with there's some glitches in the network going on, so I had a hard time understanding some of your reading, but that's quite all right. Yeah, it worked. It was good. So, how do you see writers, that you've edited promoting their work? How do they get their work out into the market? And how do you do it yourself when you're promoting your books?
I think actually our kind of in hopes thing might help. I mean, who knows? Nobody knows.
Right.
I wish I'm not a reader, so I don't really have a lot of guidance. I do read articles online about marketing and stuff like that. I always look for a website that are willing to promote a book or something that someone has written. I to get a little, I guess you put a book a few years ago about marketing, and that was only to help other writers market their books. That was online, and anything I found that was of interest to me that I thought other readers would just paste it in there, and try to make it look a little decent, and I would send a mark. It was called Money Stores Marketing Militia. That for a year and a half, but I honestly didn't get a lot of feedback. I had sent that out every quarter, I think, about 600 writers, but I got very little feedback and very little thank you. And so I actually stopped from that because I kind of it was sort of a waste of my time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't want to stop. I want what's continuing if nobody's going to respond. It's like hitting your head against the wall for no reason. And market is tough. And I've been in touch with marketing professionals, but they want $1,000 to help you, and that I don't know. It just doesn't seem feasible, and I'm sure it's not for first writers. Shell out $1,000,
right?
Hoping that people see what you've done.
If you have it to throw away, you can just throw away a few thousand out there, right?
Yeah, who's got that kind of money?
Right.
The problem with the publishing world is like a giant pyramid. If you see the analogy, now my book's at the bottom of the pyramid, and it's up to me to try to make my book come to the apex. That's easy to do. I'm in the same boat as the other writer. Maybe some writers are better off because they know people. If you know somebody that's going to help, that's great. But I don't know anybody that's professional enough to be able to make a difference. I just do the best I can. What can I say?
Absolutely. What would your final word to our audience be today, and advice to fellow writers out there struggling?
Well, for readers, I would say to keep reading, because I think reading is wonderful. You can anywhere a book. You can country, world, anytime. You can go back in time and ahead in time. It's just amazing. Writers would say, right, don't give up, never give up. But I would also say, don't rush the process, because when you rush process, um, you're doomed to fail. And I tell all the people I edit for, take your time,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever you do, stay in touch with your editor. And I mean in touch. When I say in touch, I mean don't be afraid to pick up the phone and call. Never have problems. That's what editors are for. They're there to help people write and make their mind like a new penny. That's what we do. We do our best to make books shine like a new penny.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many writers in the last 12 years. And I've edited maybe 70 manuscripts or more. I don't keep track of it. But
Right.
I always say, you know, be wary. Don't rush. Take your time. Check us out. Take time. Check out publishers. Take time to check out um, cover designers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with the editor. Uh, I honestly will not take a client who won't talk to me on the phone. And there are people out there who will not talk on the phone. I think it's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but if you're not to talk to someone on the phone, how do you know you're the right fit?
Right.
You know, and if
You have to
you're
find a
not a fit,
perfect editor, Yeah.
you're not a,
Make sure
right,
it's a
if you're
good
not a
person who's
fit,
doing
you're
the
not going
work.
to do a good job.
Right.
And right, but you know, just the best you can, and you know, I mean, I prefer when I edit, really prefer work real close with a writer. When I say real close, I mean that when I'm done editing the book, I'm not done in the because I'll contact the writer like Julius, for example, just for example, and we go through the whole book from cover to cover together. And the reason we do that because my section of a book that the author has written that don't make any sense to me at all. It could be a
Mm-hmm.
paragraph, it could be a whole page. Who am I to decide what's right or wrong? I didn't write
Right.
the story. The
Right.
writer wrote the story. I would prefer go over the document with the writer, one with the telephone. That's the way to make your book the best it can be. When you work closely with somebody and do something together, like a team, it's called a team effort. There's no I in team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it works. I don't charge people for phone conversations. I don't care if it's hours and hours. It doesn't matter to me. I don't charge people for that cover. I don't. I only charge people.
So,
I
would you
only
like to
charge
give
people.
any? Right. Would you like to give any shout outs or some thank yous while you're at the end of the program here?
Well, I mean, I don't. I didn't. I know. I know I'm supposed to tell anybody really. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've never had this type of an interview, so
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware that I was supposed to let them know that this was happening.
If you just have like a
Well,
friends, family, anybody that has supported you over the years.
well, and my kids, 100%. Um, you know, I have a lot of friends have purchased a book. They're not. I hope they're not just buying it because they're friends. I hope they're buying it because they really want to read a good story. Um, I don't know. You know, shout out. um, I worked. I don't. I was in a prison for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
I I could say I give a shout out to all the guys I worked with in the prison
Mm-hmm.
over the years. You know,
Uh-huh.
for years. Um, but as far as that's concerned, I said I didn't. I wasn't really prepared for that part. I don't.
Quite all right.
The first time I've ever done that, you know. Yeah. Did you have any other questions?
Well, that's all. That's all for me on my end. We'll go ahead and close out, and definitely, enjoyed talking with you. Been watching World Inkers Network, and Dennis DeRose today gave us an editor's perspective of writing, as well as sharing his own stories and words and his upcoming new novel. So take a look at that. And if you enjoyed the program, subscribe to the channel. We have PayPal if you want to donate, paypal.me/nyparrot. And that's an excellent place to support our programming. And it would help us also quite a bit improve maybe and do some better work for the writing community at large. So remember, paypal.me/nyparrot. If you want to be a guest on the program, you send your headshot and a paragraph bio and a couple of sample works to Literary Corner at newyorkparrot.com. You'll see that running right along this banner right here. Right in just a second. There it is. Literary Corner at newyorkparrot.com. And you will definitely be invited to the program. We'll put you on. Don't be shy. We'd love to have you. So just be aware that you'll be on the program and get a look at our website and then so forth, where we have the instructions and what we do. And take a look at some sample interviews and watch some older programs that we've done. And again, we thank you to our subscribers and thank you to our viewers. And again, subscribe, like, share, and comment if you have not already. We'd love to have you. So thank you so much. If you haven't written anything today or read anything, it's time to do that. After this program, pick up a book, pick up your pen, get to writing. Have a great afternoon.
The Prisoner. I can still smell you on my pillowcase, in the comforter and sheets. Thought about doing laundry, but decided to keep you with me just a little while longer. Riding giants. Each new love affair is like standing in front of a 50-foot wave. It looked doable from shore. Gifts. The son of a bitch left me broke and blacked out, with a stripper's name written in black Sharpie on my forearm. 3 bright orange traffic cones in my bedroom, and a 2-day hangover. He is the best friend ever. Wishful thinking. We kissed once. It was on the corner of Rampart Street in St. Peter, New Orleans. I wish I could say it was that magic movie moment with the perfect song, perfect setup, lighting just right, and bright orange moon overhead. Anticipation giving way to action like the final scene in 16 Candles, when the 2 main characters are kissing on a table, birthday cake shining with lit candles in between, and nothing left to wish for. And when the credits rolled, everyone was already halfway home, satisfied and happy with what the stars brought to them. But our kiss wasn't like that. It was sloppy. We were drunk. The music sucked. There was spilled beer and strangers crowding our space. We could not really call it romantic. We could only admit that it happened once. There have been no second chances. I have had 1,000 more moments between that kiss and today. Some amazing, others incredible, fulfilling, and fun, but all have put me here, back here, alone, staring at the stars, with only one wish left.
Corner, brought to you by New York.